Looking at Ninjago's knockoff sets has become sort of a new hobby of mine because yes, there are some really cool knockoffs like these minifigures that I found recently, but the best part is always when you find the strange, funny knockoff sets. So I have gathered some of my favorite ones that I found that I'm pretty sure that I haven't covered in some of my older knockoff videos. So without further ado, let's just get straight into this. Alright, so let's start off with the staple of Ninjago sets, mechs. So this mech that I found, I think actually doesn't even look too bad. I mean, it is definitely better than Lloyd's mech from season 2. Anyway, this set seems to be a much worse version of the original combo mech set because it does look like these 4 sets at the bottom do come together to combine into this mech. But from what my understanding is, it seems like the designer didn't get the best out of each of the ninja's vehicles. So let's start off with Kai's vehicle, which looks like it is just exactly the same as what it looks like in the combined mech, which is absolutely fine. And Jay's set is like a dragon, and not that I can really tell. And Jay's set is like a dragon, not that I can really tell from this picture. It does look alright, but then with the actual combined mech form of this dragon, it's literally just the legs and the tail. The dragon just got like completely decapitated. And now onto Cole's vehicle, and I call it vehicle because I genuinely don't know what this is meant to be. Maybe like a boat, but it looks alright. But on the actual mech, I think the only element from this set that is actually on there is this bit here, which must be very, very disappointing for Cole. And then Zane has his genuinely pretty good car, but that just gets turned into the feet. So I can't lie, I think the uncombined form is actually a lot better than its combined form, especially because when it is combined, only one of the ninja can ride the mech. Okay, let's move on to some bike sets, and we know how much LEGO loves making bike sets, or at least they used to, because now that I think about it, when was the last time they made a bike set? Was it Jay's bike from Crystallized? I think it actually could be, you know. Anyway, back to the topic. If LEGO likes Ninjago bikes, the knockoff brands will obviously follow suit, and that is exactly what Lele did. So these are very bad. They are very small, and I would bet my only Lloyd minifigure that they would break very easily. Anyway, there isn't really too much to say on these, so let's move on to the next knockoff, which is more bikes. So yes, we aren't quite done with bike sets yet. Just like LEGO, knockoff companies seem to love bike sets as well. So I actually think that these look a lot more interesting than like the last bike sets. But does that mean they are better? Well, we'll see. So let's start with Jay's, and what I find most interesting is whatever this thing is on top. I mean, it actually doesn't look too bad. It kind of looks like a scorpion, which I guess is cool. Anyway, let's now move on to Zane, which looks a lot more normal than Jay's one. I would even go as far as saying as that it looks alright. However, I did just realize that it has like this gold statue finger in the background, and I don't know what it is, but it looks powerful. And now onto Lloyd's set. It seems like his bike can fly, or at least that's what these things suggest. And well, that is just very unfair for the rest of the other ninja. Why does Lloyd get to fly but the others can't? Anyway, the actual bike looks alright, but Lloyd does have this really big and weird looking sword. But the main reason I wanted to talk about this wave of bikes is because of this Nia set. So first off, nothing about this set screams Nia to me. And it looks like instead of a bike, she's driving like a go-kart, and her wheels are on fire, by the way. I don't know if you noticed. Anyway, the bike just looks really bad. However, I do like the Ninjago spinner piece on the back. And let's move back onto the mechs. And here we have a gold mech, which really looks like it should be for Lloyd, but no, it's for Kai. So anyway, this dragon has a lot going on. So from the bottom to the chest of this mech, I think actually looks really nice. But then when we get up to the arms and then above that, it all just goes away. I mean, the arms are even skinnier than mine, and it doesn't even have hands, and it has like a flame for a hand. I mean, it is Kai's mech, and on top of the mech, it has what I think is meant to represent like a dragon head, which makes me think that this set was inspired by the Golden Ultra Dragon Crystallized set. The minifigures are also gold, but they are gold versions of the SOG suits, which I guess might be cool to own, but I wouldn't not buy this set for those, absolutely not. Okay, so now we have a knockoff of this lava snake set, which you originally wouldn't expect to be a popular set for a knockoff to replicate, but that's enough yapping, because let's just show you the set. So at first glance, I'm sure you notice the Prime Empire parts of this set. We've got disguised Lloyd on top of the snake, and Digi, Kai, and Nia just chilling there. But the most interesting figure is this pink guy, who I originally thought was meant to be like a pig or something. But upon further investigation, I believe this is meant to be one of those rats. So I definitely created something unique with this figure. Anyway, let's talk about the snake. And this actually looks really good. I like the colors, and the tail looks cool as well. And call me crazy, I genuinely kind of like this set more than the original Lego set. Alrighty, so I don't know if this is meant to be an Ninjago knockoff, but it certainly gives me Ninjago vibes, so I'm going to talk about it anyway. So yeah, there's a lot going on here. We have a really huge mech, and then also 4 dragons as well, which does look really good. So let's talk about the mech first. So I'm actually not sure if this mech is meant to be built out of the dragons or not, but either way, I think it looks pretty cool. I mean, the legs are very skinny, but the rest of the mech is actually fairly decent. The wings of the mech are definitely a bit weird, but I do actually quite like the look of them. And then we have the head. I mean, this picture isn't the best, but from what I can see, which isn't much, it's very small and just doesn't really look like a head. And now I just wanted to look at these minifigures. We have some red minifigures, some orange ninja, and some green ninja, and also some blue ninja. And yeah, they are all very, very weird. And now let's move on to a set that actually does look quite good. So there's a dragon for a white skinned Lloyd, and that is very cursed. His brown hair also looks super odd as well. But I can't lie, it does kind of suit this white Lloyd minifigure. Anyway, onto the actual dragon. I do really like it. It definitely gives me some mech dragon vibes from the Ninjago movie, and it is also very well built. The legs look like they would actually be able to hold the dragon up as well. The tail is another really cool piece. However, I don't really like that head. Anyway, I do really like the color scheme as well. The green is a nice shade. The gold looks really good, and the black just works super well with the other colors. And now let's move on to some more mechs. So I know how Lego makes those $10 Marvel mechs every year that are obviously very small and only come with one minifigure. Well, these mechs very much remind me of those. So I just think it would be super cool to get these types of mechs officially from Lego. I guess we do get those $10 battle mech packs with the mech half the size with like 3 or 4 minifigures, which I guess you could say are a bit similar. But imagine getting mechs like these with the ninjas' actual suits from the season. I just think that would be very cool to see. So anyway, let's actually talk about the sets at hand. So I have a Cole, a Lloyd, and also a Kai, Zane, and J-Mech. And they have like these Nexo Knight shields, which also remind me of those Nexo Knights mechs, if you remember those. Anyway, the printing on all of these are actually pretty cool. Even if they are stickers instead of printed parts, they still look to be pretty good quality. Anyway, let's talk about each of the ninjas' weapons. Cole has like a mace or something. Lloyd has some comedically small whatever these things are. Kai has an axe. Jay has a sword, and Zane has like this gold blade. So overall, I actually really like these a lot. And Lego, I know you're watching. Release these mechs for Season 4 of Dragons Rising instead of those gimmick sets that almost no one buys. And now, we don't exactly have a set, but an image of what looks like to be an entire wave of sets from my favourite show, of course, Ninja Thunder Swordsman. So we have a lot going on here, so let's just start at the very middle. So we've got Zane inside of an interesting mech that looks like it is made from parts from some of the sets surrounding it. So I can't even lie, I don't hate this. It looks alright, and it looks quite well built. I do actually quite like the horn thing on top, but unfortunately I can't say the same thing for Jet Jack's mech. I think that's her name, right? I just don't really know what it's meant to be. But the bottom part of this mech looks like it would be very suited for Daddy No Legs. Anyway, before we move on to the second last knockoff set for the video, I just wanted to quickly point out this egregious Nia hairpiece. I mean, you might as well make her bald instead. Okay, so before we move on to the actual set, let's just take a quick squiz at the title, the Lele Ninja Movie. So I highly doubt this is an actual movie, but if it was, you already know that I would be making a video about it. Anyway, this set isn't even that bad. In fact, I actually say it's really decent. I think it's meant to be like the Fusion Dragon from Hands of Time, so not sure why Jay is there, but anyway, the dragon is nice. The only kind of funny thing is that the small dragon has massive toenails. I mean, maybe they just forgot to cut him. Imagine all of the holes in their socks though. So finally, onto the final set. I think I may have saved the best for last here, and I don't even know what to call this. I assume this is a 2-in-1 set because the pieces from both builds do look very similar, and it also has this text in the middle of the two builds as well. So I guess let's start with this mech first. So this looks like something I would make of my spare pieces, that's how bad it is. However, I do actually like the spinning thing on the arm, and now onto this thing. It kind of looks like a Pokemon or something, and this is definitely weird, but I like it. The design is actually pretty good, and it is definitely better than some sets that LEGO has made in recent times. So anyway, those are 10 of the strangest, and let's be real, some of the coolest Ninjago knockoff sets that I could find on the internet. And if you want to see more of these, I have a playlist of some of my older videos where I looked at the knockoff sets, so hopefully you'll see me there. Anyway, see you later, be Ninja.